Alrighty, so today I want to talk about EZA'S that I think potentially could be pretty good for Dokkan at this point. We've sort of reached an era where a lot of characters that coincide with like my first year of doing content creation for Dokkan are starting to get their EZA'S, and it's kind of like a nostalgic feeling just seeing some of these characters be good. And the inspiration for this video, if we can go back to their page, was the EZA'S for Tech Super Gogeta as well as Physical Janemba. Just an absolute like slam dunk of a release, right? These characters were super well done, and I'm excited to talk about them today. So, well, not Janemba and Super Gogeta in specific, but just you know, the EZA'S that I think are going to potentially be breaking the game when they do end up coming out, right? They will be absolutely monstrous, and let's go ahead and get started with the first two ones that are going to be pretty obvious for most people, I would imagine, and that is going to be the Year 7 LRs. Now, the Year 7 LRs, I'm sure most of you know at this point, are past their prime, if you will, but they both have a really like decent skeleton that I think that like could really work out well in the near future, right? And the beauty of these EZA'S is we kind of know when they're coming, right? Like there's a very almost guarantee, like if I had to put it like a number on it, 99.99% chance that these characters will be getting their EZA during the 10th anniversary. And more than likely, they will work really well with the 10th anniversary LRs. So, with that being said, we have LR Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta as well as the LR Super Saiyan Blue gods from the Broly movie. Now, why do I think these characters are going to be so good when they get their EZA? Well, I'm glad you asked. Here we are, right? Guards all attacks within the same turn from start of turn. All they have to do is get rid of this. Right here. If they get rid of this, we are in business, right? This is going to make this character work a million times better. If we just get rid of this and it's guard all attacks in base, right? The biggest issue with both of these characters, and I'm basically going to talk about their base form as the same character. Like, we'll knock both of these out at the same time because they have very similar conditions. So, one thing we need to keep in mind is guards all attack within the same turn. We want that to be just guards all attacks, right? Because you're not staying in this character for any more than like 5 to 6 turns at the max, because especially in nowadays like difficult content, if you want to bring these characters, you need to transform turn 4, and then you also need to what's the word? You need to hide them when there's one attack, so that way their 18 key in their transform state can do an action break and get rid of the attack next to it, because like AoEs, this character cannot deal with them, right? Super attacks, unless Gogeta counters it or the blue boys dodge it, they can't deal with it, right? That's a huge problem. And it's that turn 3. What's the term that people like to use? They are a fish turn 3, right? Because it's just the stacks aren't there enough. They haven't been able to do enough. Even if they triple super, that turn 3, especially with the modern like I almost said Discord, but the modern boss, like the modern content boss, like difficult content boss, is going to just absolutely rail these guys, right? Like especially supers, like even normals, right? Like we're talking about characters that raise their attack and hit for over 1 million on normals now. Like that's not uncommon, because it's just that's how difficult content has evolved, right? 1 million defense now is nowhere near what it used to be even 2 years ago, where it's like you saw like 1 million defense, it's like, you know, like go down to a knee and like pray, right? Like this is our Lord and Savior. You have 1 million defense. That's not how this works anymore, right? It's just like 1 million defense. Now it's like, okay, cool, you get obliterated by a super, and like you got to have damage reduction, you got to have other things, right? You got to have guard, you got to have dodge chance, and they don't really have this here. This character, aside from guarding all attacks, like everything here is offensive, right? Aside from just these like little defensive buffs, like effective against all types, this is offensive. Additional super attack, sure, you could argue that's defensive because of a stack, but chance to perform a critical hit, that's offensive, right? Now, when we go into the Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta thing, I think if they give this character like just guard, and because they already have damage reduction, right? Per Rainbow Key Sphere, if we up this percentage to like 14 or even higher, like we could easily be in a situation where this character is going to be doing more than enough for us, right? Because I think that is something that's really important to note, that, you know, defense, like we all know from the way that this game works that defense is king. We have the action break on the super, we have raising attack and defense right here. There's just a lot going on with this character, and I think that can lead to really busted EZA, because we know that we're going to be getting additional effects, right? They're not just going to up the numbers on this character. Like, they're going to be changes to the passive. there's no need to change the active skill condition either, because like this is good, because like the term that you really want to coin with this is like when you have it or when you need it, you will have it, right? If you want to finish off the enemy or you're in a situation where you need to do damage now, like you're going to have it, right? And it's that's why we like to have it, right? We have high chance of countering the super. That's good. We have a medium chance of performing a crit, and then damage reduction on orbs. So damage reduction on orbs, I think, is really important to have here for us. And that is why I think I'm really excited for this EZA. So when it comes to the blue boys, very, very similar stuff that we've discussed here. But what I want to note with this character is, again, they are going to be getting dodge chance with the Rainbow Key Spheres. So again, like this character already has like a modern defensive mechanic, like, you know, being able to buff the defense. Like we got, like I'm sure, like I said, as all of you guys know, like dodge is king when it comes to defense, especially when you can get it. Like AGL UI is going to be one of the greatest aging units of all time after his EZA because of that turn 1, right? When you can't touch a unit turn 1, which is like, you know, the quintessential turn in the game, right? Because characters don't have time to build up yet. You're not able to transform yet unless you're like Broly or Angel Golden Frieza, right? You're going to be able, you're like having that ability to dodge turn 1 is just so essential. And that is where these characters defensively, especially when they're in their base form, are going to look at their best turn 1, like for having guard, right? But like turn 3 is when they get screwed. And with this character, again, the timeless mechanic of dodging will be good. So if they want to up this, again, they want to put this up to like 14% or something like that, and we get 5 rainbow orbs, like that's 70% chance to dodge, right? So just from having those, right, with a medium chance on top of this, like that would be busted, right? If you were able to get 5 rainbow orbs, and if like they changed rainbow orbs, they got that added or something like that, like, oh baby, right? Because that was an issue with the blue boys, the Tanabata blue boys, right? I think that the Tanabata blue boys, they were not self-sufficient when they came out because they needed to have rainbow orbs, and they were not a rainbow orb changer. But on EZA, they fixed that. So hopefully both these characters get that ability to rainbow orb change, and then we are really talking. I think these could be some game-breaking EZAs. I went on for a really long time about those characters, longer than I had intended, so let's get a move on. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. I really don't know why this guy's an EZA yet, right? I think it could be happening this year. You know, he's coming up on 4 years old. Almost. He's exactly, what is that? He's exactly 46 months old right now. So, because he's on the 14th, and when I'm recording this, it's the 14th, even though this video will be dropping on the 15th. This character has some interesting stuff going on, right? I think that this is a much easier thing to get than it used to be. Because, like, back in the day, it was like Spirit Bomb Absorb Goku was kind of like your best friend for this specific effect on the passive. But again, attack and defense plus 7% if you want to raise that number could be really good. An additional attack plus 58% because he is Gohan. If you can just get all this stuff, you can get the active skill. Like, this character potentially has a lot of room to put up some really impressive attack stats. Like, you can get this guy with like items and all that other fun stuff. You can easily get him over 100 million. I was able to do that back when I hit 100 subs. I remember I did a short doing like celebrating 100 subs with a 100 million attack stat. So that was fun. But I think that this EZA, I mean, like, Super Saiyan 2 Gohan he's one of the faces of Dragon Ball, right? Like, when you think about your favorite characters, I'm sure that like a vast percentage of you say that this is your favorite. If it wasn't for Dragon Ball Legends, like in the Dragon Ball mobile social media community, like Gohan wouldn't be as much of a meme if it wasn't for Legends. But we all love Super Saiyan 2 Gohan when he's not beating our ass in Legends PvP, right? So, you know, I think that this character definitely is deserving of an EZA. I'm excited to see what they do. Let's go ahead and move on to these two. Don't want to talk too long about them. Thankfully, these characters don't transform, so it's going to be a little bit easier. I think that this Goku could end up being better than Frieza, just because of the buffs that he gets against extreme class enemies. With that being with the active skill, and then it's he gets here it is, extra ki and an additional attack plus 59%. And there's an extreme class enemy, but even now, like this guy, this Frieza, I think could be extremely valuable in stuff like some of the Supreme Battle Spectacles that we had, and some of the what is that fight called? The Memorable Battles event, where you know, you're fighting against Super Saiyan Gokus, because these guys have guaranteed crits against Friezas and guaranteed crits against Gokus. So when this guy came out, it was like the Legendary Goku event, the GT Goku event, the Vegeta event meta, where those were kind of like the most difficult events combined with Super Battle Road and Extreme Super Battle Road. This character was really, really effective, just because there was a ton of fights against Gokus that were really hard. And then for this guy, there just weren't as many Frieza fights, right? The Wicked Bloodline Red Zone did not exist until the next year. So that is something that you have to consider. I think both of these characters could be really well done. And hopefully, like, because the active skill isn't in the passive, I don't think they would change it. But if we could get an easier access to the Frown, I would definitely be a fan of that. So Namek Goku, Namek Frieza, I think they'll be EZAing sooner rather than later, and I'm really excited to see how they handle them. Let's move on to the TURs. These guys, I'm sure you guys know how the tech androids work at this point. They spawn in, they have a Ghost Usher, and that is really overpowered. You know, there is a minute crowd in the Twitter space that likes to argue these guys as a top 10 TUR still. I disagree, and I disagree heavily. I think a Ghost Usher has a lot of value, but it's not worth just running them on a team because you could protect them with Beast Gohan and stuff like that. It's just funny that the way things work, right? But again, this character has nullification on Ki Blast supers. That's good. They have an additional super attack. Maybe they could change this to just always be an additional super attack, right? We're getting extra defense and attack with Ki Spheres obtained, which is self-sustaining because they're attack orb changer. Could be a really valuable unit alongside with their active skill, right? Because obviously a Ghost Usher is extremely overpowered, being able to take attacks at will. Something that you cannot take for granted, right? That's why this character has aged pretty well for like a set of characters, especially when it comes to TURs that just weren't really that good, right? You think about like the post-worldwide 2021 era, I'm sure a lot of you weren't here for it, but Trunks was not the best. Kale and Caulifla had marginal usage because of their healing when they fused into Kefla, and they could stack. The androids, they were really good. And then the New Year's 2021 characters were pretty good, but again, the 7th anniversary just came and they came hard, right? Life came at those characters fast. It was tough, right? Just because the Red Zone came out and the Year 7 LRs were just like something we'd never seen before, and it just kind of left a lot of these 2021 TURs in the dust, and when the dust settled, these two were still here, ironically enough, kind of similar to how they were in the anime, right? So that is why I'm excited for this EZA. I think a turn 1 Ghost Usher, again, we value turn 1 a lot on this channel, and yeah, the androids are very good for that turn. So let's go to move on. We got Pikkon. Pikkon, again, very similar, has super class support, and has a Ghost Usher, a unit super attack with Gogeta, that's cool. He can dodge, he can seal. Where can he seal? I could have sworn he could seal. Maybe I'm tripping? I guess I'm tripping. What's immense damage, immense damage? Yeah, I don't know where I got that he could seal. I know for a fact he is a Ghost Usher. He lowers attack. That's what it is. That's what it is. My bad. There's a lot of characters in this game. Cut me some slack. Pikkon, again, super class support, dodging, Ghost Usher, attack lowering. You guys can see how this EZA could be pretty busted for like a Movie Heroes team. Otherworld Warriors needs the buffs like they need $1 trillion, right? Timeless Legends will never be a team. Saviors, I don't think will ever be a team. But Connected Hope, Movie Heroes, tournament participants, 3 real teams, right? So Pikkon maybe could find his way on some of these, and that's why I'm excited for that EZA. And I'm sure you guys know who's coming up next. Janemba. This boy has always been a rock. I love Janemba. He's when he was like, before content just got too hard, I would always say it's like, this guy, when you run him on a team, he is never the reason that you lose the run because of that guard, really, and damage received as well. Damage reduction, guard, very nice skeleton. This character could be silly, and hopefully they'll give us a reason to transform, because when we transform with this character, you're just looking to dodge, typical of a Janemba, right? But with LR Janemba, this could potentially be a really good linking partner moving forward. So I hope that this EZA is good. Let's move on to the next one. The second, probably most anticipated one with the Year 7 LRs, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. They call him a caveman unit. He's effective against all types. He has high numbers. Toss in some guard, toss in some damage reduction, maybe make this a great chance to counter supers, right? He has an active skill. All enemies attack and defense minus 40%. You're debuffing the enemy with their attack, you're debuffing the enemy with their defense, and then after you receive 4 attacks, hopefully they can take normals and counter supers. That's really what we are looking for here with this specific character. So Gogeta's EZA, super excited for that one. And then last but not least, we have Bojack, because I think that the Terrifying Conquerors and Space Traveling Warriors team could potentially look really good. This would be a really good linking partner for a unit like LR Turles after he got his EZA, and just teams that I think could really help from this character. You guys can see he just doesn't have much going on in his base form, but that would change pretty quickly if they got the opportunity to, so hopefully in the future we do see that. So there you guys have it, a bunch of EZAs that hopefully that will potentially break Dokkan. You know, just a fun little title for that one. But if you did enjoy this video and you are looking forward to some other EZAs, let me know in the comment section below. We can discuss it. And if you did enjoy today's video, don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you are new, so that way you don't miss out on any of the Dokkan content that I post around here. Like I said, as always, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you all in the next one.